Chapter 1, First Breath. And the Lord God formed man from the dust of the earth, and he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Genesis chapter 2. Just as breath, air, and wind is the very life of a man, so is the Spirit of God the life of the spiritual man. By him we are quickened at first. By him we are kept alive afterward. By him the inner life is nurtured and increased and perfected. The breath in the nostrils of the man of God is the Spirit of God. Charles Spurgeon. Our life begins and ends with breath. Have you ever beheld a baby's first breath? You'll never forget it. You know at your core that you just had a courtside seat at a miracle. It sounds like a gasp as the newborn central nervous system reacts to the sudden change in the temperature and environment, having lived in the warmth of a total water world for 9 months. The baby's lungs, which were filled with fluid during pregnancy, must suddenly fill with oxygen, usually within 10 seconds of birth. The respiratory center of the brain is jolted to tell the baby to take a breath. Now! It is the most profound change at birth, a baby's first breath. That first breath may also be the most difficult breath that child takes until their last. Have you ever held the hand of a friend or a loved one as they breathed their last breath? You'll never forget it. You know in your soul that you stood on the very threshold of sacred space. The first breath begins a new story, and the last breath, in the words of C.S. Lewis in the Chronicles of Narnia, is the beginning of the real story. All their life in this world and all their adventures had only been the cover and the title page. At last they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story, which no one on earth has ever read, which goes on forever, and every chapter is better than the one before. We all love a good story, and the great ones, the truly epic ones, often share similar themes. Universal themes of good and evil, life and death, love and loss that, when told really well, can touch and unlock things in us that few other things can because they're universal. So there you are, crying at the end of a movie, hoping that the lights don't go up because they got you again. They got you with that thing that they do to make people cry, and right on cue, boom, there you are, crying. I hate it when they do that, but I love it when they do that because it's what good stories do. They move us. They make us laugh and make us cry. They lift our spirits and they break our hearts. They make us think, they help us feel, they quicken our pulse, and they animate our imagination. We are not passive bystanders in a great story. We can sometimes be transported to different worlds, even to galaxies far, far away. But even if the story isn't real, if it didn't really happen, because Luke Skywalker wasn't really Darth Vader's estranged son, and 4 little hobbits weren't really on a quest to save Middle-earth. There's something embedded in the story that is true, universally true, eternally true. The irony in all that is what makes those epic stories so effective. All of them are actually echoes of a much bigger story, a story that began in eternity past, as wide as the universe, as old as forever. It's the story of God, and it began with a whisper. It began with breath. First breath, the breath of God. The ancient story actually begins with the swirling imagery of dust and earth, of breath and life, the forming of man and the breathing of God. And he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became alive, a living soul. Genesis chapter 2.